Tonight on Love Live at 6, Prime Minister John Resenia to meet with the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State in Washington. PSU President Dean Flowers subjects to proposed appointment of PC John Gamboa as Assistant Chief Transport Officer. We'll also bring you remarks by Flowers as he cites several internal issues at the Department of Transport. Government names a not-so-new Recondev board, retaining 4 former members and elevating Myra Tibby-Waite to chairperson. A retired BDF warrant officer says invoice splitting is nothing new and calls on the government to remove bureaucratic hurdles affecting payments for food and rations. Electricity rates remain unchanged, but Belize continues to face power outages linked to its dependence on Mexico, and the Association of Defense Attorneys threatened constitutional action over its exclusion from the Judicial and Legal Services Commission and the General Legal Counsel. Stay tuned for these stories and more in tonight's newscast.
La vida va rápido y tu conexión debería seguirte el ritmo. ¿Necesitas más saldo, más datos, un paquete flex que vaya contigo? Con Smart Prepago hay opciones para cada estilo de vida y cada presupuesto, para que sigas conectado donde sea que estés. Porque con Smart Prepago tú decides cómo conectarte. Compras saldo, datos, paquetes flex, planes prepago y todos tus servicios favoritos con cualquier agente de Smart, Smart Showroom o marcando *100 gato. Sin complicaciones, sin espera, solo formas rápidas, fáciles y prácticas de mantenerte conectado todos los días. Smart Prepago, conéctate a tu manera. Smart, bringing people together.
So it started off like any other summer day in Belize. I decided to go down to Builders Hardware since I heard they had 25% off on summer outdoor products. I got a couple of items, a chair, a grill, a cooler, and I got carried away, but the prices were so good. But anyways, I might have gotten comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Then I saw the news, man, the hurricane season was not playing with me. But thank God Builders also had 25% off hurricane preparedness items as well. Flashlights, batteries, sealant, first aid kits, everything I need. And guess what? My grill survived.
Introducing GrowWatt, a global leader in distributed energy solutions, delivering innovative solar technology trusted around the world. Engineered for reliability, designed for sustainability, built to power every scenario, powering homes, empowering businesses, creating a smarter energy future for Belize. For residential hybrid systems that maximize energy independence, to homes across Belize benefiting from smarter, more efficient power management. GrowWatt off-grid solar storage solutions bring dependable electricity to locations beyond the traditional power grid, providing clean, reliable energy whenever and wherever it is needed. For businesses, GrowWatt delivers powerful commercial and industrial energy solutions that help reduce operating costs while improving energy security, including proven installations right here in Belize, helping businesses operate efficiently with dependable solar energy systems. As transportation evolves, GrowWatt EV charging solutions help power the future with clean energy. Need power on the move? GrowWatt portable solar power solutions provide flexible energy for construction sites, events, emergency applications, and temporary installations. GrowWatt delivers energy-smart solutions for a greener future. Distributed in Belize by Lano Supplies, 112 Ranchita Village, Corozal Town.
Cada conexión es más que solo una señal, es un estudiante abriendo las puertas a su futuro a través de la educación digital. Una mente joven atreviéndose a soñar en grande. Nuestra cultura compartida con el mundo en tiempo real. Y héroes cotidianos respondiendo al llamado del deber cívico. Cuando nos conectamos con Digi, empoderamos a Belice.
Let's all be safe during the rainy season. Belize Electricity Limited reminds you that heavy rains can cause flooding in your neighborhood and on roads. Avoid driving or walking in flooded areas, which can have hidden dangers such as debris and fallen power lines. Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety. Please stay safe.
Traveler, are you?
Belikin is more than just brewed in Belize. It's made of Belize. And being made of Belize means being authentic, unique, and proud. This is what that looks like. Belikin, the beer of Belize. There are many stories to be shared about what it means to be made of Belize. Join Belikin in celebrating our Belizean heritage by sharing your unique story. A few of these stories will be selected to be produced into Belikin Made of Belize videos. Those chosen will receive Belikin beer for a year and will be invited to join us during production. Let's tell the stories of what it means to be made of Belize. Please send us a WhatsApp message at 630-6519 or email us at madeofbelize@skz.bz.
Good evening. With your news in detail, I am Richard Herbert. Prime Minister John Bresenio is out of the country, but there has been no official announcement from the government detailing the purpose or duration of his travel. Photographs obtained show the Prime Minister attending Sunday's FIFA World Cup final at the New York, New Jersey Stadium, where he was seen wearing an Argentina jersey. Love News understands that the trip to the World Cup final was gifted to the Prime Minister in celebration of his birthday, which was observed on Friday, July 17. The Prime Minister's overseas visit, however, is reportedly not limited to the sporting event. We understand that he is expected to travel to Washington, D.C. for a formal meeting with the United States Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau. Up to news time, no official public statement had been issued by the Office of the Prime Minister concerning the trip. It therefore remains unclear when the Prime Minister departed Belize, when he is expected to return, and which cabinet minister has been designated to act as Prime Minister during his absence. The President of the Public Service Union, Dean Flowers, has strongly objected to the proposed appointment of Police Constable John Gamboa as the new Assistant Chief Transport Officer. Flowers' concerns follow an interview aired on Friday with Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Transportation, Chester Williams, and Chief Transport Officer, Leon Gentle. During that interview, the senior officials discussed the selection process and indicated that no existing employee within the ministry had expressed an interest in filling the vacant post. However, Flowers argues that a reported lack of internal interest does not give the ministry authority to bypass the appointment procedures established under the Public Service Regulations. He maintains that the vacancy should be properly advertised and all eligible public officers given a fair opportunity to apply before any candidate is selected. Flowers says the issue goes beyond the individual being considered and raised broader concerns about transparency, fairness, and equal access to opportunities within the public service.
Since the airing of the interview of both the Chief Executive Officer as well as that of the Chief Transport Officer, I wish to put on record that I have received several submissions from public officers within the Department of Transport, and ranging from different ranks, really and truly suggesting that they are in complete disagreement with some of the pronouncements made by the Chief Executive Officer in the Department of Transport and the Chief Transport Officer himself. First and foremost, it must be stated that the vacancy notice that went out for those positions were internal postings, meaning that in accordance with the recruitment and selection manual, when a vacancy arises, it ought to be published internally. The CEO ought to look internally to identify public officers within that department that may have the requisite qualifications, experience, and skills required to assume a higher post. If you look at the vacancy notices that they speak of, those notices were for internal purposes. They were not meant for external applicants. And so, when I look at the vacancies that were published, the corporal in question had no business applying because it was not an externally published vacancy. So he ought not to have been shortlisted. Even under the current vacancy, the corporal of police does not qualify because he does not have experience as a senior transport officer or as a transport officer for that matter. So how did he get shortlisted? How was an interview conducted with him? I don't know, but there's clear breach of the established procedures, and this is the politicization of the public service that I keep speaking about. Not, of course, suggesting that the corporal was politically appointed, but it's the political corruption of how we recruit within the public service that would have caused him to be considered. Who I want to, and I wish to put on the record, that corporal is a personal acquaintance of mine. I consider his father a personal friend of mine. We went to school together, and so it's not personal here. It's simply speaking about the issue, and I need to make that clear because people like to politicize issue and they like to personalize issue. And I want to say that that corporal has a lot of respect for me, and I have a whole lot of respect for him.
The PSU president is calling on the relevant authorities to ensure that any appointment to the post is conducted through the proper channels. The controversy also carries a familial dimension. Gamboa is Williams' brother-in-law. During Friday's interview, Williams openly discussed his preference for Gamboa, pointing to the police officer's qualifications and experience as reasons he believes Gamboa would be suited for the position.
Process has not even completed as yet. What happens is that when the vacancies went out, all members...
I want to say that the Public Services Commission ought not to consider that recommendation, and the Public Service Commission should caused the Department of Transport to look internally with all those officers who have 10, 15, 20 years under their belt. They might not have a bachelor's degree in English, but they have the knowledge, the experience, and the know-how of how law enforcement is supposed to be applied. If it is that their capacity needs to be built from an administrative standpoint, then it is the duty of the Chief Transport Officer and the Chief Executive Officer to identify professional development courses to help them bring them up to that skill set that is required from an administrative standpoint. It is not everybody that needs to have an associate's or a bachelor's. That does not mean that they will be able to function, especially when you're dealing with these technical positions. You want people with experience, knowledge, and know-how, and experience, as I stated earlier, as to how the department is supposed to function properly, no?
For further context, here is an excerpt from Friday's interview with Chief Transport Officer Leon Gentle, noting that the selection is yet to be finalized.
Process has not even completed as yet. What happens is that when the vacancies went out, all members of the department were given an opportunity to apply for the different positions that we are looking for. We had open interviews for transport officers in the different districts. We had also opened positions for assistant chief transport officer, which would be a regional commander for our department in looking at different zones to carry out the functions, to make sure that they carry out their functions under the department's mandate. And Mr. John Gamboa was one of those applicants who applied for the Assistant Chief Transport Officer position. There were 2 applicants, and we have looked through the application, gone through the full interview process, and we believe that he's one of those persons who are fit for the position.
What's the timeline? When would he be appointed if he is chosen?
Well, that's a decision for the Ministry of Public Service, who then would give us that approval. So we have to wait on their time.
Why did you all need a new deputy?
The staff is increasing. There's a number of positions that are now being opened, and we do need overall supervision for everybody. It's impossible for one deputy to be able to deal with the entire staff as it is. So our objective is to look at a deputy from an administrative standpoint and a deputy from an enforcement standpoint.
According to the union, it will continue monitoring the matter as it develops. The John Gamboa matter is not the only thing under the PSU's microscope. According to the PSU President, Dean Flowers, there have been numerous complaints from within the Ministry of Transportation as they relate to CEO Chester Williams' behavior. In an interview with Love News, Flowers has called on CEO Williams to essentially back off.
I want to call on the CEO to stop disenfranchising public officers within his department. He would have also done so when he would have hired a transport officer in Belmopan. And I have a lot of respect for that transport officer as well, because I think he was an excellent transport officer when he was employed with the Belmopan City Council, but he was hired as a transport officer under CEO Williams without following the proper procedure. There was no vacancy. And it is as a result of his employment that I would have gotten wind of the vacancies, because then the officers said that they just got a copy of, some officers got a copy of the publication of the vacancy notice, when in fact that officer was hired without an interview and without following the established processes. And the department currently, in my opinion, is being treated as if the CEO still consider himself a commissioner of police, whereby he promotes who he wants and pretty much does what he wants in terms of promotions and employment of certain ranks of officers. That is my honest opinion, and it's not personal, of course, between me and the CEO. I mean, we have a respectful working relationship. We have a professional working relationship, but we have to speak truth to power, and we have to be open and honest, and we have to be also open to correction. And I hope that he would be open to correction, and he would not take my criticism personally or my commentary personally. But it must be stated that he failed to properly inform every single officer within his department and to provide every single officer with a copy of that vacancy notice, because several officers would have complained that they did not see, and several officers would have said even when they signed, they did not know whether they should apply, because nowhere in the vacancy says that they needed to have X amount of years at a lower rank to be able to be considered at a higher rank. So, and it is alleged by some officers that they were even told plainly in meetings, don't even bother wasting no time and apply, because those positions will be filled by persons from outside the department. Those are some serious allegations which are also being made against the CEO.
A third matter brought up by the union are the multiple reports that the current Deputy Chief Transport Officer, Peter Williams, is slowly being pushed out of the ministry.
The matter of the sidelining of the current Deputy Chief Transport Officer, who is the most experienced and the most knowledgeable transport officer or transport professional in that department. And I think the Belizean people can attest to that. And I want to say that it is really unfortunate when you hear that a professional such as Mr. Williams is being sidelined by the current CTO and Chief Executive Officer. And for them to say that they're not sidelining him is untrue. It is not the truth. The gentleman is being sidelined. And these allegations are coming from the transport wardens, from the transport officers, from the administrative staff, who are saying that they've been instructed that once the CTO is not there, if the CTO is on vacation, they should not send anything to the Deputy Chief Transport Officer who is holding over, and they should hold off on all those submissions until the CTO returns. Senior officers are being told when it comes to operations and so on, not to communicate with the deputy. As a matter of fact, it is my understanding that enforcement and operations is happening under the auspices of the legal counsel. Imagine, what does the legal counsel and the chief executive officer have to do with conducting enforcement and operations on the road? That is left for the deputy, following instructions from the chief in terms of how they will operationalize the department. So to suggest or to say to the Belizean people that you have not sidelined the Deputy Chief Transport Officer is certainly not true. And I would hope and pray that the minister can intervene, have a sit down with these officers across at every level to ascertain what's happening within the Department of Transport, because I'm really not pleased with the many allegations that are currently flooding my inbox and my WhatsApp.
It is to be noted that CEO Chester Williams did indicate that this was not the case and that Williams is an asset to the Department of Transport. Government has released the names of the not-so-new Board of Directors for the Reconstruction and Development Corporation, ReconDev. While there had been expectations of a major overhaul following the SmartStream controversy, most of the former board members remain in place. A letter dated July 16 confirms Myra Tibby Waite as the new chairperson, replacing Brian Mira, the brother of former Minister of State Oscar Mira. Waite is no stranger to ReconDev, having previously served as the board's deputy chairperson. She is also a member of the National Women's Commission and the People's United Party's United Women's Group. Waite is the sister of National Trade Union Congress of Belize President Ella Waite. The NTUCB president has since moved to dispel reports circulating about her sister, making it clear that Myra Waite is not romantically involved with any of the Mira brothers.
The question I have to be fair to answer to say that is my sister. I'm very proud of my sister. She has been doing well as a member of the board, and now she is the chair of the board. I'm not sure if she campaigns for Mira, but I know she's a part of the women's group, the People's United Women Group. Yeah. I don't know if they have links to the Mira. That I don't know. But I think people need to understand where ReconDev originated from. ReconDev will always be a political board in that sense because it's a political institution in Belmopan. And I think for you to have a clear understanding, you need to go back and read how ReconDev started and for what purpose it is there for. But again, I have to be clear to the public because you asked me the question, that is my sister. 4 members of the previous board have been retained. They are Cedric Borland,
Lysandra Berby, Wilfredo Galvez, and Belmopan Mayor Pablo Kowich. The new additions are Government Press Officer Director Mike Rudon, George Castro, who was involved in Oscar Mira's political campaign and had sought to become a PUP councillor candidate in Belmopan, and Carla Bradley. The board was restructured after leaked SmartStream records raised questions surrounding government contracts and payments involving members of the Mira family. Recondev manages government-owned land and other development assets in Belmopan. Its board of directors is responsible for providing general oversight of the corporation's operations and decisions. Minister of Public Utilities, Logistics and Energy, Michelle Shabbat, has weighed in on the controversy surrounding government payments made to businesswoman Jenny Shubra Mira. Shabbat says that whenever public money is involved, the public has a right to know how those funds are being spent. The controversy began after screenshots from the government's SmartStream payment system were leaked. The records reportedly show that Mira received 497 payments from the government between 2020 and 2025 for the supply of goods, including produce reportedly purchased for the Belize Defense Force and Belize Coast Guard. Questions were raised after an examination of the records showed that nearly all the invoices fell below $10,000, the level at which additional procurement requirements may apply. The leaked information also reportedly showed multiple invoices being processed on the same day. On September 14, 2023, for example, 12 payments totaling more than $100,000 were reportedly made. There were also questions surrounding a supplier listed as GhostDot, which appeared 4 times in the records. Officials have since said that GhostDot was not a separate business, but a description connected to transactions involving Mira. Mira is the sister of former Minister of State Oscar Mira. While the records have generated concerns about procurement procedures, the payments themselves are not proof that any law was broken. Speaking on Friday, Minister Shabbat said transparency must be central to the handling of taxpayers' money.
The allegations being raised are very serious allegations, and they must be treated very seriously. Public funds do require public accounting. There's no way of getting around that. And I think Cabinet and Prime Minister understands that, and I think we've now taken the necessary steps to make sure that this happens. So I have every faith in the process that we've undertaken, and I am sure that the Belizean people will see that and will understand the work that we have been trying to put in place. And let me tell you this. I don't think what is happening can define the work that this government has done. We have done tremendous work in terms of education, in terms of housing, in terms of healthcare. And so you need to look at the whole picture to tell the story of this government. And as I said before, these are serious allegations and they require a serious investigation.
Do you consider that the threshold for payments, not procurement, because the government can purchase in whatever amount it wants, it's just the accountability and transparency aspect, that it should be increased above 10,000?
I think what you need to have are checks and balances, because at 10,000 or at 100,000, there can be abuses. And so what needs to be put in place are checks and balances.
The controversy has led to calls for greater scrutiny of transactions and the procurement process used to approve them. Public Service Union President Dean Flowers has called for an audit, as well as the opposition and the National Trade Union Congress of Belize. A retired Belize Defense Force warrant officer is calling on the government to remove some of the bureaucratic hurdles affecting payments for essential BDF supplies, particularly food and rations. The former soldier called into the morning show today as public scrutiny continues over hundreds of SmartStream payments linked to several relatives of former Minister of State Oscar Mira. Questions have been raised about the number of structure of transactions, including invoices reportedly valued just below the $10,000 threshold. According to the caller, delays in securing approval for urgent supplies have long forced BDF personnel and suppliers to find ways of keeping operations moving. He claimed that splitting invoices is not a recent practice and was taking place from as far back as 2010.
Any other department easy for audit, that is the Belize Defense Force. The BDF should have one thing where you call an ARU, an annual report on units, where you check everything where gets spent, and the BDF thing go through where you purchase, where it get on stock, where it get distributed to the minute level. Everywhere you get 1 pound a pigtail. If somebody want half pound, they sign for that half pound when they go get cooked. And then you have the requisition for the amount of people who want to eat for the day. You have what you call an availability state for even say the consumption of that pigtail.
Okay.
So the BDF that is the easiest place for audit, and I welcome this audit. I am one of the first people who didn't sub 10,000 sub 10,000 invoices. That was around 2010 thereabout. So that's why way back then when we do it for expediency of purchase.
Okay.
Because of the same reason where you give. Now, if you just grab people and they manufacture millionaires out of nowhere, then that's a different thing.
The controversy came to light after records reportedly showed hundreds of payments made between 2020 and 2025 to the supplier. Among the issues flagged were repeated invoices, several payments processed on the same day, and the large number of transactions falling below $10,000. The retired warrant officer maintained, however, that any review of the matter should also examine the broader system used to procure food and necessities for the BDF. Electricity rates will remain unchanged for now, following a final decision by the Public Utilities Commission, PUC, on Belize Electricity Limited's annual review. The decision covers the period from July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2027. The PUC says it will not change any of the rates, charges, or fees approved last year. However, customers could see small monthly changes in their electricity bills under a new system called the Cost of Power Adjustment, or COPA. The system is intended to account for changes in the amount BEL pays to purchase electricity from local and regional suppliers. If BEL pays more than the approved cost, it may seek to recover the difference. If it pays less, customers may receive a reduction. Any monthly adjustment must first be reviewed and approved by the PUC. The increase or decrease will be limited to no more than 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour in any given month. BEL must submit its request within 15 days after the end of each month and can only use money collected through COPA to pay for purchased electricity. The arrangement takes effect immediately and will remain in place until June 30, 2027. The PUC says the conditions are intended to help BEL manage changes in power costs while protecting consumers from sharp increases in their monthly bills. Belize continues to feel the effects of its dependence on Mexico for electricity, with about 40% of the country's power currently being purchased from Mexico's state-owned electricity company, CFE. The challenge arises whenever electricity demand increases in the neighboring state of Quintana Roo. During those periods, CFE reduces the amount of power supplied to Belize, forcing Belize Electricity Limited to carry out load shedding. This means temporarily cutting electricity in different areas to prevent the national grid from becoming unstable. Those supply reductions have resulted in power outages across parts of Belize, highlighting the risk of relying heavily on another country to meet local energy needs. Minister of Public Utilities, Logistics and Energy, Michelle Shabat, says the government recognizes the need for Belize to become more energy independent. However, he explained that reaching that goal will require major investments and cannot be achieved overnight.
We are in continuous discussion with CFE. The situation is that they themselves have shortages in Mexico, and so when they experience it, then here in Belize we have to load shed, right? And so that is where we are. But for us as a country, it is important for us to find local means of energy production. A couple days, actually Wednesday, we had a meeting with the government, the IPPs, the PUC and BEL, so that jointly we can find a solution. There is a certain gap that we're trying to fill, and so we felt that it is important to bring in our local producers so that we can have energy being created here at home and to try and lessen that dependence we have on CFE.
Government has been examining ways to increase local power generation and diversify the country's energy sources. The objective is to ensure that Belize can produce more of the electricity it consumes and reduce the likelihood of local outages whenever Mexico faces its own supply pressures. A war of words has erupted between two of Belize's leading legal organizations over the process used to appoint judicial officers. The Association of Defense Attorneys, ADA, has responded to the Bar Association of Belize, which expressed outrage over concerns raised by the ADA regarding recent appointments to the criminal bench. The Bar Association described the ADA's comments as egregious and accused the organization of seeking to undermine the constitutional process. It argued that judicial appointments fall under an independent Judicial and Legal Services Commission, which is intended to shield the process from political interference. The bar also defended the selection procedure, saying vacancies are publicly advertised, eligible attorneys from Belize and the wider CARICOM region may apply, and candidates are interviewed and evaluated according to the Commission's internal criteria. It rejected suggestions of particular and said judicial appointments should not be influenced by nationality or favoritism. The ADA, however, says the Bar Association has misunderstood its position. The ADA Secretary, Urson O.J. Elrington, says the association is not asking the government to interfere with the commission, but is demanding greater transparency and confidence in the appointment process.
DICI's position is it will not change it because you will only be one person against these. So that is his position. Now, while that in principle is it, at least to what we have been saying, we would be involved in it. We would know the process. We would, just like we're doing now, be able to say, this is our position, and we can publicly state our position to say, no, we did not agree with that. But of course, the majority went with it, but we do not agree with that. Now, the kid said two things. My good senior said two things. The Constitution says the Bar Association. When the Bar, this is why, and we won't get into, as Courtney says, the legality of it, right? Because we're not, this is why I'm saying it's not a request, it's a demand. The Constitution says the Bar Association. When that was written, there was only one association, one bar. The Bar Association is the private bar, meaning there are two associations. So we should, as I said in the Sugar Canes, it is an entitlement by law. It is not a request. It is a demand for which, and I will say it, the Attorney General of Belize, the legal representative, has for years given his commitment that they will make the changes. The last time they said they're in the process of doing the constitutional review. So let's just do it all together. That was the commitment. So we are not just coming from with something new which has not been a discussion.
The Defense Attorneys Association says Belize has several competent and experienced practitioners who are capable of serving on the bench and whose applications should receive proper consideration. It argues that concerns surrounding the latest appointments are particularly relevant because they involve the criminal courts. According to the ADA, attorneys who practice daily in those courts possess first-hand knowledge of the qualities and experience required of judicial officers assigned to criminal matters. The ADA also questioned the Bar Association's intervention, arguing that the organization does not appear in the criminal courts and has historically declined court-assigned criminal cases. It further criticized the Bar for showing what it calls limited public urgency over court delays, case backlogs, and the challenges ordinarily Belizeans face in accessing justice. The association maintains that judicial independence and transparency in appointments are not competing principles. It says both are necessary to preserve public confidence in Belize's justice system. The Association of Defense Attorneys, ADA, is strengthening constitutional action against the government over what it describes as its continued exclusion from two of Belize's most influential legal bodies. In a statement issued today, the association placed the government on notice of its intention to pursue a constitutional claim regarding representation on the Judicial and Legal Services Commission and the General Legal Counsel, JLSC. The ADA says it represents approximately 95% of the active defense attorneys appearing before Belize's criminal courts. According to the association, successive governments, through the Office of the Attorney General, have acknowledged the need for its inclusion and made commitments to provide representation. Those commitments, however, have reportedly not been fulfilled. ADA Secretary Orson O.J. Elrington says the exclusion prevents defense attorneys from contributing their practical experience to important decisions affecting the judiciary and the wider justice system.
The problem is that JLSC is only appointing foreigners. That can't happen in a free country and continue without nobody saying anything.
The practice in other jurisdictions is that you start at the bottom and you work your way up. It's a career. So I could recall a colleague of mine in Barbados who was chief magistrate when I was chief magistrate. And he used to say, well, I'm waiting for my turn. And he got his turn. He's sitting on the High Court in Barbados. So that the system that exists there is that they start from the lower bench and they move up to the higher bench.
It's a career path.
It is a career path that seems to be established in these jurisdictions that I have mentioned and others. So that I can't just decide I will just show up there and apply to go on their high court when you have all these magistrates who are waiting their turn to go up. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone. I'm just telling, and I want the public to understand this. It is not that, yes, CMSC say I can go work anywhere. The truth of the matter is I don't see me being able to go to Trinidad when you have all those Trinidadian attorneys, magistrates, and those who are waiting their turn to go up based on their career path.
The association is particularly concerned about the latest selections to the criminal bench, which it says were made without consultation or participation from the organization representing most practicing criminal defense attorneys. The ADA argues that continued exclusion from bodies responsible for judicial appointments, professional standards, and the administration of justice undermines transparency, accountability, and public confidence. It maintains that criminal defense attorneys play an essential role in protecting constitutional rights, ensuring due process, and upholding the rule of law. The association is now demanding that its promised representation on both the Judicial and Legal Services Commission and the General Legal Council be fulfilled. While it says it remains open to constructive engagement with the government, the ADA warns that it is prepared to take all necessary legal steps to protect the constitutional rights of its members. There is more news ahead right after this break. This is Love Live at 6. Stay with us.
We've got the wow youth. So do you think we got a deal?
No one should be up at this time. If you're still up, it's not you. It's your mattress. Because the right mattress changes everything. Sherwood Bedding Luxury Resort Pillow Top Mattress. Sleep better, wake better. Available at Design Depot. All in one place.
People, not businesses, power the economy. And they deserve to be acknowledged, appreciated, and compensated for their efforts. Because when your people are successful, so is your business. Neo People, simplify your HR and payroll needs with one powerful solution.
Commercial Cleaning and Products of Belize, CCP, formerly known as Carpet Care Plus, offers a wide variety of professional restorative cleaning services and products in Belize. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Our mission has always been to provide our customers with the best products and services for quality, safe, and environmentally friendly cleaning. What separates us from the rest? The services we offer. Fabric cleaning for all types of carpets, upholstery, walls, and drapes. Vehicle detailing for both the interior and exterior. Total restorative cleaning of ceramic and porcelain tiles for floors, walls, marble, granite, limestone, travertine, clay, and more. Degreasing and polishing of the entire kitchen and all its equipment. Also custom concrete designs. We are a supplier of the most cost-efficient and economically viable products when you buy our specialized super concentrated formulas, such as cleaners, disinfectants, deodorizers, and sanitizers. Additionally, we also carry professional cleaning equipment, such as mops, buckets, vacuums, doormats, and window equipment, which are very durable and practical. You can order any of our products online at www.ccpbelize.com. CCP Belize uses only trained technicians, professional commercialized equipment, and EPA certified products. Our products are 100% biodegradable. We also have certified green products, which are used by Green Globe approved companies. Visit us at 68 North Front Street, Belize City, or contact us at telephone 223-1820. Email us info@ccpbelize.com.
Hardware store, now we online giving you more. Home or job site, no stress, no sweat. Everything you need, you could get. Household appliances, day or night. Shopping for supplies made easy and light. Click, click, boom, and the order done. Building in Belize just got more fun.
Why wait long in a line? Save your energy and your time. Delivery pulling up right by your gate. Castillo's Hardware, making building great.
Feel smarter.
Anytime, anywhere, hardware shopping without a care.
Browse online, get what you need.
Fast and easy with lightning speed.
Pick up our delivery, choose your way.
Castillo's got you covered every day. From your phone, just tap and buy. No more hassle, no more.
Do it best with Castillo's Hardware.
Ready, set, paddle into an unforgettable showdown along the Placencia Peninsula, the Battle of the Paddles 2026. On Sunday, August 2nd, the tranquil southern waters erupt with excitement as paddles are put to water in one of Belize's most unique water sport competitions. Starting at 8 a.m., competitors take part in one of 4 incredible races. A challenging 20-mile canoe race and a 10-mile sea kayak race through the Placencia Lagoon, alongside a dynamic 3.5-mile sit-on-top kayak race and a 1.7-mile paddleboard race around Placencia Key, all starting and finishing at the Placencia Municipal Dock. Feel the excitement as every stroke transforms the Placencia waters into the ultimate water sport battleground. Battle of the Paddles 2026, Sunday, August 2nd.
Partners for Battle of the Paddles are Barefoot Services, Crocodile Research Coalition, the Placencia Village Council, World Wildlife Fund. Sponsors are Sandy Cove BZ Tours, the Belize Tourism Board, Umaya Resort, Blue Reef Beach and Marina, Southern Environment Association, Hidden Valley Wilderness Lodge, Reiki and Island Resort, Caves Branch Adventure and Jungle Lodge, Miramar Suites, a Belizean Nirvana, Gecko Property Management, Top Value Supermarket, Maya World Destinations, Captain Jack's, Belsin Decorative Concrete Solutions, Seahorse Dive Shop, and Love FM.
Back to School 2026 with the Angeles Press is here, and this year is bigger and better. We're talking unbelievable deals all summer long. Starting June 15, stock up on all your school essentials.
New notebooks? Check. Fresh backpacks? Check.
Prices that make you smile? Double check.
Mommy, I want my new Samsonite backpack.
That's right! Samsonite still offers a sweet 1-year warranty. And hey, you even get a free merch with purchase while supplies last. Stay in the loop by following the Angelus Press on social media. Every Friday during our back-to-school season, look out for our jaw-dropping This Stuff for Real deals.
So before you shop, make sure you follow
The Angelus Press, your back-to-school headquarters all summer long. The Angelus Press and the Love Foundation, transforming lives with love.
For 5 decades, Caribbean Shipping Agencies Limited has stood at the forefront of Belize's maritime industry, connecting Belize to the world. Founded in 1976 by Mr. Stanley Longsworth Sr., he developed a wholly Belizean-owned, family-operated enterprise led by himself, his wife Laura, and his beloved brother, John Jack Longsworth Sr. Under the stewardship of these directors and supported by a team of dedicated staff, the company quickly earned its reputation as Belize's premier shipping agency. A partnership that has stood the test of time was formed in 1981 with our principal client, Hyber Limited and Hyde Shipping Corporation. What initially began as a bi-monthly cargo service evolved into weekly and now bi-weekly vessel calls, delivering the flexibility and reliability needed in today's competitive global economy. Together, Caribbean Shipping Agencies and Hyde Shipping Corporation have built their success through exceptional customer service and dependable shipping solutions. Over the years, Caribbean Shipping Agencies has expanded far beyond traditional cargo services. Operating throughout Belize's maritime boundaries, Caribbean Shipping Agencies delivers professional maritime services, not only at our principal commercial ports located in Belize City and at the port of Big Creek, but also at our offshore islands and remote destinations. Caribbean Shipping Agencies has played an integral role in the establishment and continued growth of cruise tourism in Belize. Proudly acting as port agents for most of the industry's largest and most innovative cruise operators, such as the Royal Caribbean Group, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, and MSC Cruises, to name a few.
50 years of exceptional service and the experience garnered has allowed our company to become Belize's largest and most well-rounded shipping agency, specializing in attending to vessels of all types, including containerized and bulk carriers, fuel tankers, cruise ships, military vessels, project vessels, and even private and commercial motor yachts. Additionally, we provide stevedoring consultancy and operational management services to importers of bulk cargoes such as wheat, fertilizer, steel, and project cargoes. For us, it's critically important that moving forward, we not only preserve the vision and protect the legacy established by my father, but as a company, that we are prepared to grow and evolve to ensure that we remain a principal stakeholder in an ever-changing and dynamic local and global maritime community.
With experienced leadership, dedicated staff, and a tradition built on excellence, Caribbean Shipping Agencies Limited remains committed to serving Belize and the global maritime community for generations to come. Caribbean Shipping Agencies Limited, proudly Belizean, trusted worldwide.
It is 6 minutes to 7 o'clock. News continues. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology hosted its inaugural STEAM Festival in San Ignacio over the weekend, giving young women from across the country the opportunity to showcase innovative solutions to challenges facing their communities. The event featured projects developed through the Women in Fourth Industrial Revolution, or 4IR, component of the Skills for the Future program. Drawing on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, students transformed ideas learned in the classroom into practical innovations while demonstrating creativity, teamwork, and critical thinking. While attendees only witnessed the final presentations, the event was the accumulation of months of preparation. Dr. Consuelo Godfrey says careful planning was essential to creating a meaningful experience for the students.
Today's event is really a culmination of 2 weeks of hard work for the high school. But prior to this day, which is the main event, we had a primary camp which lasted 1 week, and we had the participation of 17 different primary schools across the country. And we were working with over 300 girls from standard 4, 5, and 6. And the goal was for those girls to be exposed to all aspects of STEAM. Following that, we had 2 weeks of high school camps where we worked with first and second form girls. And the goal was for the girls to add technology to all the different STEAM areas, so science, technology, more technology. So we had had them do a game design. We had them do a windmill, a digital windmill. We had them build robots that could move and have different behaviors. The girls were allowed to have guests come into the schools, and the guests were from different sectors of society: conservation, arts, engineering. We had folks from the agriculture unit, we had folks from the TVET come in and work with the girls and talk to the girls about real-life STEAM initiatives led by women. They were able to visit the Hydro Belize Chaleo Dam in Cayo. They were able to visit Solar Sisters in San Pedro, Colombia. They went to Trees, which is an ecological site off the Hummingbird Highway for the ecumenical girls. The girls out in Belmopan, they worked with the University of Belize, and they learned about robotics, chemistry, engineering. And so they had a really good time in actually seeing STEAM in action.
The Women in 4IR program is supported by the Global Partnership for Education and the Inter-American Development Bank in collaboration with the Education Development Center. Through the initiative, approximately 1,000 primary and secondary school girls across Belize are expected to gain the knowledge and skills needed to confidently explore opportunities in STEAM-related fields. For Dr. Godfrey, the festival was never just about displaying finished projects. She says the goal was to create an environment where young women could discover their potential, apply what they had learned, and see themselves as future innovators capable of shaping Belize's future.
This STEAM festival, the concept that I came up with for the festival was a innovation village. And when you think of a village, you think of an all-around comprehensive, the old saying that says it takes a village to raise a child. It's the same thing. All these areas of STEAM, we wanted to spark that interest and motivation in girls so that they're able to go into STEAM careers and they're able to then jump into various aspects of or what we call skill pathways.
The ministry hopes the festival will continue to grow in the years ahead, inspiring more girls to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, while preparing them for opportunities in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Belize has joined the region in expressing solidarity with Guyana as an extensive search and rescue operation continues following the capsizing of a passenger ferry. The vessel departed Georgetown late Saturday, July 18, carrying 116 passengers and 17 crew members. According to the latest figures cited by the government of Belize, the ferry encountered rough waters and capsized with 133 people aboard. 67 people had reportedly been rescued, while emergency teams continued searching for the remaining passengers and crew members. Authorities have mobilized a major operation in the hopes of locating those still missing. Prime Minister John Roseno, on behalf of the government and the people of Belize, extended prayers for the safe recovery of those who remain unaccounted for. He also offered words of comfort to the families anxiously awaiting information about their loved ones. The government says the thoughts of the Belizean people remain with Guyana as the country confronts the tragedy and continues its rescue efforts. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has moved to clear up confusion surrounding Spain's recently published visa-free travel list, stressing that Belizeans have not been granted visa-free entry and must still obtain a Schengen visa before traveling to Spain. Spain published a list on July 14, identifying 60 countries whose citizens can enter without a visa. It includes 9 CARICOM nations: Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. Belize, Jamaica, Guyana, Suriname, and Haiti were not included. The Foreign Ministry explained today that Spain's publication does not represent a new visa waiver program. Instead, it consolidates the countries whose citizens were already exempted under European Union regulations governing entry into the Schengen area. Since visa policy for the Schengen zone is decided collectively by European Union member states, Spain cannot independently grant Belizeans visa-free entry. Removing Belize from the list of countries requiring visas would require a formal amendment at the EU level. For now, Belizeans traveling to Spain or another Schengen country must still apply for a visa, which may require them to visit a Schengen embassy or consulate in Guatemala or Mexico. The ministry says, however, that progress has been made. In November 2025, the European Commission approved a visa cascade for Belizeans holding regular, official, or diplomatic biometric passports. Under that arrangement, eligible applicants may receive multiple entry Schengen visas valid for up to 5 years. The ministry says the arrangement has reduced the need for repeated visa applications and made travel easier for tourism, business, education, and family visits. However, it falls short of the full visa-free access already enjoyed by several of Belize's CARICOM partners. Foreign Affairs says a comprehensive waiver remains under active discussion with the European Union. Dangriga Mayor Robert Mariano has received an official proclamation from the Atlanta City Council in Atlanta, Georgia, recognizing his public service and efforts to strengthen international cooperation between the two municipalities. The proclamation, dated July 15, was issued by members of the Atlanta City Council on behalf of the residents of Atlanta. It was presented to Mayor Mariano by Erica Antoinette Castillo Slatton, Foreign Affairs Ambassador for the Dangriga Town Council. The document recognizes Dangriga as the culture capital of Belize and the heart of the Garifuna community. It highlights the town's role in preserving Garifuna traditions, language, music, dance, and history, while acknowledging the influence of Garifuna culture throughout the Caribbean, Central America, and the United States. Mayor Mariano was honored for his commitment to community development, strengthening local government, preserving cultural heritage, and advancing initiatives intended to improve the quality of life of Dangriga residents. The proclamation also acknowledges the contributions of Atlanta's Belizean and Garifuna communities in education, business, public service, and the arts. The document bears the signature of Atlanta City Council President Marcy Collier Overstreet and the council's 15 members. La Ruta Maya Belize River Challenge has secured a lasting place in Belize's postal history with an image from the iconic canoe race featured in the country's new collection of definitive stamps for the 2026 to 2030 period. The collection was unveiled last Friday by the Belize Postal Service and celebrates the people, traditions, sporting events, and historic moments that have helped shape Belize's national identity. Postmaster General Dr. Marsha Price says the images were selected by a special committee to ensure that every stamp tells a distinctly Belizean story.
Usually these definitive stamps are rolled out every 5 years, so we had to start preparing from last year. So as the beginning of January last year, we started with the preparation because we knew that we had to do this launch and we had to see what team will be coming up this year. So it was a whole lot of preparation for this event today. We have a committee to come together with different ideas to see what it will feature this year so that took some time. You know, everybody had their idea of what they would want to see featured in this stamp, and we just come up with, okay, different events that occurs within Belize, and I think it's something new, something different. So I like things that are different. So we wanted to do it different than previous years. So we wanted something grand for this 2026 definitive feature. These stamps are usually used to send mails worldwide, domestically as well. So the image tells a whole story, and we wanted to at least stamps that reaches internationally, that people understand the history of Belize, and that is something that we wanted to touch when we selected these image for this 2026 definitive collection.
Beyond La Ruta Maya, the collection features Wesley College students marching past the former Pasto building on the 40-cent stamp. The building once housed the post office before it was destroyed by fire. The 50-cent stamp captures the colorful sawdust carpets created in Benque Viejo del Carmen as part of the community's Easter traditions. The 75-cent denomination features the past 4 leaders of the People's United Party, while the 80-cent stamp carries a historic photograph from Belize's first cycling classic. Students from Evershine Primary School visiting the Dangriga post office during Child Simulation Month are featured on the $1 stamp. The $1.50 stamp celebrates Pañad, a long-standing fixture on the September celebrations calendar. Agriculture is highlighted on the $2 stamp with an image from the National Agriculture and Trade Show, while the $2.50 denomination recognizes Belizean women in volleyball. Minister of Public Utilities and Logistics, Michelle Shabat, says the stamps go beyond their postal function, preserving important pieces of Belize's history and carrying the country's story wherever they travel.
The team they selected this year was an amazing one, celebrating Belize, and as you can see from these 11 stamps that they selected, it really depicts every aspect of our culture and our country and our events, and so it is important for us as a ministry and as a government to be able to support these things, which these stamps serve as ambassadors across the world for us, so it's an important event. And it gives you a sense of pride, I mean, from the Ruta Maya to the tapestry, to the kids. I mean, it really depicts life across Belize and how we interact and how we live. And as you can see them, the very bright colors really lightens up, and especially now where you need a bright light, I think this is a bright light.
At the top of the collection, the $10 stamp honors the Queen of the Bay pageant, another enduring feature of Belize's September celebrations. Reigning Queen of the Bay, Samantha Ramirez, says it is an honor to see the historic pageant represented in the national collection.
I will say that no amount of words can really truly express how I'm feeling right now. I'm truly feeling honored, and as mentioned in the ceremony, these stamps are just more than a piece of paper. These represents our culture, our national identity, and I really want to urge the young ladies. I mean, look what the pageant did for me. It opened brand new doors. This stamp is going to be all around the world. Before I entered pageantry, I was a very enclosed person. I did not really show my personality much, but being Queen of the Bay has really opened doors, has opened new jobs, new opportunities, meeting new people, and I love to socialize. So I will say, take that step, break out of your comfort zone, because there are opportunities out there in the country and in the world.
The new definitive stamps will remain in circulation from 2026 through 2030. This is Love Live at 6. The news continues after the break.
If this is an emergency situation, please call 911 right away for immediate assistance. Do not use the Crime Stoppers program in an emergency situation. Do you have information about a crime or a fugitive in our community? You can submit a tip anonymously with your smartphone. Using this program in safeguarding our community also protects your identity, keeping you out of the court system, and could earn you a cash reward. Here is how it works.
Download the free P3 Tips app from the Apple Store or Android Market. P3 is the provider of our secure anonymous tip collecting software. Open the app and create a PIN, but be sure to remember that number, then select your location. Next, select the type of crime. When submitting a tip, be as specific as possible. Remember, the more information you give the officers, the more likely it is that we will be able to identify the suspect or confirm a crime has taken place. This ultimately helps when making arrests. Information leading to an arrest can earn you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Never put yourself in danger to gather information. However, if you have a picture, video, or audio that will help officers, you can upload them from your phone. Once you click Submit Tip, P3 will ask to send you notifications. You choose what's right for you. Once your tip is submitted, you'll be given a tip ID and password. Keep that info safe as you'll need it to check the status of your tip. Using the app, simply log back in using the PIN you created when you first opened it. Check back if your tip leads to an arrest. You'll be told how much you were rewarded and how to anonymously collect your cash.
Looking to perfect your roofing or siding project with precision? At Coop Sheet Metal, we've got the machine that makes it happen. Introducing our state-of-the-art double folding machine equipped with advanced technology and engineered to handle complex metal bends in long pieces, various angles, and intricate profiles. Need trims up to 21 feet? Coop Sheet Metal has what you need. From modern siding to custom flashings and fascia details, Coop Sheet Metal makes the products better, faster, and more accurately. For residential, commercial, industrial, or even custom roofing, siding, and trims, all at one place. If you're not sure what you need, we will walk you through it from start to finish. At Coop Sheet Metal, it's not just about metal, it's about variety, confidence, and flawless finish. That's Coop Sheet Metal, your one-stop metal source from start to finish. Call now at 823-0118 or visit coopsheet.com.
Traveler, are you?
Welcome to the William David Fonseca Parking Facility, your modern solution for safe and convenient parking in downtown Belize City. With easy payment options such as prepaid cards or coins, parking downtown has never been easier. Enjoy affordable rates as low as 75 cents for 15 minutes, $1.50 for 30 minutes, and $3 for an hour. Open and available 24/7. Park smart. Park safe. Park at the William David Fonseca Parking Facility. Modern, secure, convenient. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
It is 30 minutes past 7 o'clock. The news continues. The National Trade Union Congress of Belize, NTUCB, marked 60 years of defending workers' rights with an anniversary celebration last night at the Inspiration Center in Belize City. The event brought together union members, labor leaders, and supporters to reflect on the NTUCB's 6 decades of service, solidarity, and advocacy. Since its establishment, the umbrella organization has championed fair wages, improved working conditions, social justice, and stronger protections for Belizean workers. NTUCB President Ella Waite says the anniversary provided an opportunity to honor the unionists who helped build Belize's labor movement while renewing the organization's commitment to present and future workers.
As we celebrate this remarkable milestone, we pause to honor every unionist that came before us. We recognize those who sacrificed their time, their energy, their careers, and in some cases their personal comfort to ensure that Belizean workers would have a seat at the table and a voice that could not be ignored. Today also marks another historic occasion for the Congress. We proudly present the first ever documentary recording the history of NTUCB. This documentary is far more than a film, it's a preservation of our history. It captures the voices, struggles, victories, lessons, and sacrifices that have shaped organized labor in Belize. It ensures that future generations will understand where we came from, what we fought for, what we stood for, and why our work continues to matter. Too often history is forgotten because it was never recorded. Today we change that. This documentary is a gift to every past leader, every affiliate union, every worker, and every Belizean who believes in justice and dignity at work. But this must not end here. It is our hope that documenting the history of the labor movement becomes an ongoing initiative of the NTUCB. As new chapters are written, new victories achieved, and new leaders emerge, we must continue recording our journey so that future unionists and workers inherit not only institutions, but also our stories. History should not live only in memory. It should live in archives, in classrooms, in documentaries, and in the hearts of those who will carry this movement forward.
A major highlight of the celebration was the first ever screening of an NTUCB documentary. The production traces the organization's history, including the struggles it has faced, the victories it has achieved, and the contributions of the men and women who helped shape the labor movement. The milestone also serves as a reminder of the NTUCB's continuing role in national affairs and its responsibility to speak out on issues affecting employees across the country. As it enters its 7th decade, the organization says it intends to continue advocating for fairness, dignity, and better opportunities for Belize's working people. Juan Carlos Novello has been acquitted of the November 2023 murder of his common-law wife, Leslie Margarita Verde. Justice Candice Nanton handing down the not guilty verdict this afternoon following a trial in the High Court. The judge announced the verdict without providing detailed reasons, indicating that those will be presented in a written decision at a later date. Verde was found motionless inside her home in the Bahia area of Keycaulker during the early hours of November 4, 2023. She was taken to the Keycaulker Health Clinic, where she was pronounced dead. A post-mortem examination conducted by Dr. Rocky Blanco determined that Verde died from asphyxiation caused by compression of the neck. Dr. Blanco testified that the injuries were not self-inflicted or accidental and classified the death as a homicide. The prosecution's evidence included surveillance footage showing Novello entering and leaving Verde's home during the hours surrounding her death. Verde's daughter, who was 13 years old at the time, also testified that she awoke and saw Novello shaking her mother's motionless body. However, there was no eyewitnesses who testified to seeing Novello inflict the fatal injuries. Defense attorney Leroy Banner maintained that his client did not kill Verde and argued that the evidence presented by the prosecution was insufficient to establish Novello's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. After being released, Novello maintained his innocence and expressed relief at the outcome. He also told Verde's family that he did not commit the crime. The Crown's case was prosecuted with testimony from several witnesses, including investigating officer Sergeant Manuel Mai and Dr. Blanco. Justice Nanton's written reasons for the acquittal are expected to provide further details on how the evidence was assessed. A Bermudan Landing resident remains hospitalized after he was shot while driving home on Saturday night. Police say 29-year-old laborer Kenton Young was traveling alone in his blue Ford Escape along Muscle Creek Bridge route from Burrell Boom to Bermudan Landing when he came under attack. According to ASP Stacey Smith, the incident occurred just after 10 o'clock that night.
Police are investigating a shooting incident that resulted in the injury of Kenton Young, a 29-year-old Belizean laborer of Bermudan Landing Village in the Belize district. The investigation commenced on Saturday, 18 July at around 10:25 p.m. when officers were alerted that there was a shooting in the vicinity of Muscle Creek Bridge within that village. Upon officers' arrival, they observed a SUV, and on board that SUV was an injured Mr. Young. Mr. Young reported that he was traveling on board his vehicle when, upon reaching that area, he was accosted by a male person on board who was driving a motorcycle, and that male person fired several shots which resulted in the injury of Mr. Young. Mr. Young is currently listed in a critical but stable condition. We have the motive is an ongoing dispute between persons between Bermudan Landing Village and Lemonal Village. 2 persons were detained and another is being sought.
Police processed the scene and recovered 12 expended 9mm shells. Investigators are seeking 1 person in connection with the shooting. However, that individual's name is being withheld at this time. Police believe the incident may be connected to an ongoing feud involving groups from Lemonal and Doublehead Cabbage. A police officer attached to San Pedro Town is under investigation after he intervened in a domestic dispute on the island. According to ASP Smith, one Maverick Fuentes subsequently got shot after the officer called for backup.
Police are investigating a shooting incident which resulted in the injury of Maverick Fuentes, which occurred on Sunday, 19 July 2026 in San Pedro Town. What we have learned is that a police officer who had reported off duty at that time was making his way home, and upon entering his apartment building, he observed that there was an ongoing domestic disturbance. He reportedly sought to de-escalate the situation, however, that proved futile. He further reportedly called into the station requesting police intervention, but shortly after doing so, the domestic altercation became violent and he made a decision to intervene with a view of detaining the male person. The officer reportedly alleged that upon doing so, he was assaulted by the male person as well as the female, which led to him withdrawing his personal protection license and firearm, and firing a single shot which caught Mr. Fuentes to the leg. Both the police officer and Mr. Fuentes sought medical attention. A concurrent criminal and internal investigation has been commenced in this matter.
What kind of injuries did he sustain? Was he stabbed or slashed or anything like that?
Who? He was shot. He received a shot to the leg. The police officer, I don't know the extent of his injuries, but he was issued with a medical form, and it depends, the doctor will certify the injury. I am not clear as to the sequence of events. However, the briefing, as I stated, in that order that it was given to me, he arrived home, he observed that there was a domestic disturbance. I don't believe it was inside of the home. I think it was some common area because it was an apartment building. And he called, but the mobile was not in the immediate vicinity. However, during this time, the altercation escalated to a violent nature according to him, and that is why he made the decision to intervene. As you would know, situations of a domestic nature have the propensity to escalate rather quickly. And I believe if it is that the officer acted in the manner that he said he acted, it was done with a view to preserve the life of the female who he thought was a victim at the time. His firearm was taken into custody. The full procedures that obtain whenever it is that a firearm is discharged. So his firearm was taken into custody. The expended shell was retrieved. I will also say that when I spoke with O.C. San Pedro, he stated that the female has not come in to give any report as yet. So certainly we're asking for the female to come in and give her report and put on record what she saw transpired. But what I was told by Officer Commanding San Pedro was that she was not being cooperative, neither stating anything against the police officer or against her common law husband.
So no charges have been brought against anyone as yet?
Not at this time.
And this has been Love Life at 6. Coming up shortly, we will have for you tonight's edition of the Business Hour. Join us again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another bulletin of news. Until then, Belize and beyond, enjoy the remainder of your Monday evening.
Good evening. A relatively dry airflow prevails over the area. The forecast is for partly cloudy or clear skies tonight and sunny skies tomorrow with a low chance of shower activity. Overnight temperatures are expected to be about 82 Fahrenheit near the coast, 72 Fahrenheit inland, and 66 Fahrenheit up in the hills. Highs tomorrow are expected to reach about 89 Fahrenheit along the coast, 95 Fahrenheit inland, and 82 Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds are from the east at about 10 to 20 knots, producing light chop to choppy sea conditions. A low tide can be expected at 8:47 tonight, and high tide occurs at 2:53 tomorrow morning. The moon will set at 7 minutes after 11 tonight, and the sun will rise at 5:28 tomorrow morning. The outlook is for mainly fair and warm weather with possible isolated showers expected for Tuesday night and Wednesday. And in the tropical weather outlook, at 6 o'clock this evening, newly formed Tropical Storm Bertha was about 110 miles south of Panama City, Florida. Bertha was moving to the west-northwest at 3 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. Elsewhere, tropical cyclone formation is not expected over our region during the next 48 hours. And that concludes this evening's weather report and forecast produced at the National Meteorological Service. More information is available on our website at nms.gov.bz and on the Belize Weather app.